All right. Well, the 2025 regular season for the NFL is now over, and boy, what a couple of days it's been since the season ended. I'd say I guess there's only really one way to kind of summarize the last 48 hours, Monday and then today. It's just simple.
You're fired. 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 You're fired.
We're still there with the fired. Oh, I forgot. I thought well, you know what? It makes sense because I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible couple of days. Welcome everybody to the countdown here on Stay Tuned Sports. Boy King hanging out with you here on this Tuesday and the final countdown of the 2025 season. Great to see everybody there in the chat gate, and thank you so much for joining us if you are with us. Here we got ELS in the chat. We've got Lloyd in the chat. If you want to come join us in the chat room is open. Come in and say hi, say hello, say how you doing. Make sure you click on live chat, not top chat, and a toggle drop-down menu, and all that good stuff. If you like anything about this channel, including the countdown, if you like our Friday forecast, you like the live streams, you do anything that we do here, please hit that like button. I think it helps us. I have no idea if it does. It might. We'll see. Again, you know what does help us? You sharing. Sharing is caring. Sesame Street was right about that. Sharing is caring. And if you hit that share button, let the world know that we exist, more people get their eyeballs here, and that certainly helps us out as well. So thank you so much for hitting that share button as well. And, of course, as always, if this is your first time here or you just haven't done it yet, please hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and hopefully being monetized here on this great and glorious platform known as YouTube. If you want to help us out more directly, you can do so over at the links in the top of our chat and in the description below. We have links for our donation station and our merch store. You can donate whatever you'd like, and we certainly would appreciate it. I don't care if it's 5 cents. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's a nickel. I don't care if it's a dime, a dandy dimes. I don't care what you want to do. You do that. All right, you want to get, if you donate more than $110, though, you get your name in the ticker. Right now, Pecan is the leader in the clubhouse with $110 donated. Do more than that, and you will get your name in the ticker. We're going to be switching over to Patreon soon. As I heard from our community, that's a little easier to donate to than Buy Me a Coffee has been. So we'll keep an eye out for that. If that's what you're waiting for, we will be getting there soon. And, of course, as always, the merch store. Go to bit.ly/staytunedmerch to get your Stay Tuned Sports merch. We've got hoodies. We've got shirts. We've got coffee. We've got coffee mugs. We've got banners. Got to do more banners. We're going to have more banners up there so you can hang them up on your wall, show your fandom, do all that kind of stuff. I was thinking of doing like football field banners too, or maybe rugs. I know they got rugs I think I could do. I figured I'd do like rugs, like little area rugs or something that are done in like the football field. And it looks like each team's field. I could do that. I'm good at the graphics. So that might be something that we look at. If you want something like that, let me know in the chat, and we'll see if we get that out for you. So anyway, that's bit.ly/staytunedmerch, or like I said, links in the description below or in the top of the chat. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what a busy couple of days. We've got a bunch of firings, and again, we're going to lead off with the biggest one that happened just a few hours ago. John Harbaugh, after 18 years in Baltimore, he's had a Super Bowl championship there. Did he get to one? Did the Ravens get to another one and lose? No, they won. They won in. They beat the Niners in 48, right? Yeah. And after that, I don't think they've been. I don't think they've been. Which is fine by me because I don't like the Ravens. But yes, he was let go earlier today. Just think that that poor rookie kicker, old Tyler Loop, on his foot, had the destiny of two head coaches, who have been with their teams for such an exceptionally long time, if that kick stays inside the upright, perhaps we're talking about Mike Tomlin not being with the Pittsburgh Steelers today while John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson prepare for the playoffs. But it didn't. It just went right. So he misses right. And now we're talking about John Harbaugh gone. And Mike Tomlin getting ready for the playoffs here. The Baltimore Ravens have fired John Harbaugh on Tuesday, ending the run of the one of the most successful coaches, the most successful head coach in the franchise's history. This, of course, comes from Jamison Hensley from ESPN. His exit came 2 days after the Ravens lost to their rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 26-24, after missing a last-second field goal attempt, which eliminated them from the playoffs for the first time since 2021. Harbaugh had signed a 3-year deal last offseason and was under contract through the 2028 season. In a statement, Baltimore owner Steve Biscotti called the decision incredibly difficult. Throughout what I firmly believe is a Hall of Fame coaching career, John has delivered a Super Bowl championship to Baltimore and served as a steadfast pillar of humility and leadership. He and his family have deeply embedded themselves in this community. For these profound contributions on and off the field, we should all be forever grateful. Our goal has been and will always be to win championships. We strive to consistently perform at the highest level on the field and be a team and organization our fans take pride in. I will always be grateful for the extraordinary hard work and dedication displayed by John and his staff throughout many successful years. John Harbaugh now becomes the hottest name in the coaching market if he decides to return to the sidelines for the 2026 season. His agent, Brian Harlan, told ESPN's Adam Schefter that in the first 45 minutes after Harbaugh was fired on Tuesday, Harlan received calls from 7 NFL teams expressing interest in his client. There are currently only 7 NFL head coaching openings, one of them being Baltimore. So, Baltimore didn't call and be like, can we just hire back the guy we just fired? So what team that currently has a coach is putting that phone call in and being like, kicking the tires? Could it be the Colts, maybe? Could it be the Colts? Maybe the Colts? Maybe Carla Ursay there kind of kicking the tires there. It's like, maybe we're not going to stick with Steichen. Maybe we're not. Maybe it's Mike Brown of the Bengals. They just said, hey, we're going to stick with Zach Taylor. But are they? That's going to be interesting. That is fantastic. Yeah, I did see those. ELS giving the statements, the official statements from both Baltimore and Harbaugh in the chat. If you want to go look at those, join us in the chat room. Make sure you put on live chat. What else we've got? Lloyd says Tomlin is staying. Well, he's staying now because he won. Sources said that told Schefter that Harbaugh was expected to emerge as a favorite for the vacant job with the New York Football Giants, which I wouldn't be opposed to. That's not, again, kind of it's kind of up there with Tomlin. Like if Tomlin had ever gotten fired or was let go from Pittsburgh, I was like, call him within the first 5 milliseconds of him being available if you're the New York Giants. Harbaugh, I kind of feel the same way. It's along those same lines. Sources also told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that Harbaugh was in touch with members of his staff Tuesday about a potential exit, with the impression from those talks being that he had a say in the decision to leave and was expected to get right back into coaching this cycle. Harbaugh, who is 64 years old, ranks 12th for most wins by a head coach in NFL history with 193, and guided the Ravens to a Super Bowl title in 2012. In leading the Ravens for 18 seasons, he was the second longest active tenured head coach in the league, behind only Mike Tomlin, who is in his 19th season with the Steelers. Harbaugh on Tuesday expressed gratitude and appreciation for his time in Baltimore. Gratitude to the owner and organization who was willing to bring in a head coach who made his mark with special team success, he said, as part of his statement. A difficult thing to do. An appreciation for all the moments, all these years that are etched into eternity. God, he speaks just like his brother, too. It's a Harbaugh thing. Harbaugh didn't produce as much postseason success in recent years as he had earlier in his career, which was a major disappointment considering that he had two-time NFL most valuable player Lamar Jackson at quarterback. In 8 seasons with Jackson, Harbaugh won only 3 playoff games and never advanced past the AFC Championship game. Harbaugh's final season in Baltimore proved to be one of his most challenging. The preseason betting favorite to win the Super Bowl, the Ravens, who finished 8-9, finished with a losing record for only the third time under Harbaugh. The fan discontent in Baltimore grew throughout a season in which the Ravens went 3-6 at M&T Bank Stadium, which was the worst record at home in the franchise's history. Harbaugh was booed coming off the field after a 44-10 loss to the Houston Texans on October 5th, and there were a large number of empty seats for the final 7 home games. Criticism of Harbaugh increased after a 28-24 loss to the New England Patriots on December 21st, when running back Derrick Henry didn't receive a carry in the final 12 minutes of the game, despite Baltimore holding a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. In a final question at the news conference after Sunday's loss in Pittsburgh, Harbaugh was asked if he wanted another shot to coach the Ravens. "Yes, I love these guys," he said. When Baltimore hired Harbaugh in 2008, he was considered an outside-the-box hire because his expertise had been on special teams. In replacing Brian Billick, Harbaugh changed the culture and turned the Ravens into a perennial Super Bowl contender. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. ELS in the chat says, do you think we'll get any more head coach firings? I didn't think so, but with Harbaugh out there now, you might have a few teams kind of like maybe kick the tires and hedge their bets and say, you know what, we might go after him and then fire the guy we said was safe. So that could be ELS. Like I said, could the Colts be one of those teams? Could the Bengals be one of those teams? What a coup for the Bengals. And John Harbaugh gets to play the Ravens twice every year in Cincinnati. I bet John Harbaugh and Joe Burrow. That would be nice. That would be nice. If he wants to do that. If he wants to do that. Although you'd have to work with Mike Brown, and I don't know if anybody really wants to do that as well. Lloyd says, do you think he'll go to the Browns? No, I don't think. I think the Browns are too. Like, Mike Brown's just cheap. The Browns are fully dysfunctional. So I don't think he'll go to the Browns. The Browns, to me, feels like the Browns are always going to be a first-time job. They're always going to be the job that you get a coordinator for who's trying to make that leap to being a head coach. Because anybody who's actually a head coach is like, I am not going there, man. I am not going to Cleveland. That is not happening. With Jimmy Haslam there, that is not happening. So I doubt that, Lloyd. I really do. Well, who knows if Flacco's even going to be there next year? Flacco is probably going to end up retiring soon. ELS says, hey, Ravens' next head coach, possibly Robert Saleh. Name is out there. He'll get a couple other looks. That could be. I mean, Baltimore is always a defensive-first franchise. Has Robert Saleh learned how to be a head coach after his time with the Jets? I don't know. Maybe going back and being coordinator. Again, I think some people are just better coordinators than head coaches. We'll see if Robert Saleh gets the call again. If he can be that kind of. If he could be that kind of head coach, that kind of leader. Again, that could be a situation where he was with the Jets. So that's another thing, too. I don't know if he was quite ready to be a head coach yet. And I don't know if, obviously, the Jets are just, like the Browns, are just a bad organization. So I think that's the problem. Hi, Peppa Jack. How are you? That's okay. I see you getting your Eggo waffles for a little late-night snack there. Very nice, very nice. Someone had to get Eggos because of the Stranger Things final, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta eat Eggos." But yeah, so that's an interesting thing. I think Saleh will get another shot, but we'll see. Lloyd says that Stranger Things have happened. Yeah, see, Stranger Things. Lloyd says, "Oh, the Browns are going to consider everybody, but it's whether the people consider them back. Lloyd, that's the problem." Listen, you could consider anybody, but you'd have to have the mutual interest. I don't know if Harbaugh's going to have that. And Harbaugh right now is the pick of the litter, if you will. He is the big fish in a big pond. He is the big catch. He is the prize. He is the trophy in the coaching carousel right now. So it's not a case of who's going to offer to him. It's a case of who does he want to go to? Who does he want to coach? Because he's going to be the one in charge of that. He's going to decide where he goes. It's not a case of, oh, well, he got an offer here, so he might have to go there. It's like, no, John Harbaugh is going to be able to pick where he wants to go and what situation he likes to go to. Again, I think the Giants are a very good chance for that simply because of the pieces that are there. There are good pieces, as we discussed over the last couple of weeks of the season. I think we have that. I think you'd have to start looking at organizationally. I think he has a lot of respect for the Maras and for the Giants, kind of blue blood organization as it is. So that I think is going to be high on his list. I think if we're being honest, probably the Titans as well. Now he might want to go to the Raiders as too. I've heard the Raiders as another a possibility because of they have a number one pick. It's a full rebuild. It's going to be like he gets to put his absolute mushroom stamp on that one. And whether or not he wants to do that, he could be out in the West. He could face his brother twice a year. It'll be something like that. Like it could. Like I said, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I don't think the Giants are a foregone conclusion for him. And again, it's going to have to be mutual interest. I think every team is going to have an interest in him. It's just who does he have an interest in? Giants are still Northeast. That could be something that interests him. Or maybe he wants warmer weather. Maybe he wants to hang out in Vegas. Who wouldn't want to hang out in Vegas? Maybe he wants to go out there. I don't know. I did see, Lloyd, earlier in the chat, you said that maybe he'd go to he'd consider Atlanta. That could be. But again, Atlanta's doing a complete organizational shift and basically enema down there. Ironic that they're in the butthole, though. So that's a real interesting circumstance there where he could be. Now, remember a couple of years ago, like a couple of coaching cycles ago, people thought maybe Belichick would go to Atlanta. Atlanta seemed like it was a prime spot, and they ended up with Raheem Morris, and it was like, I don't know, that felt underwhelming to me considering what Atlanta seemed to be looking like and asking for. So I don't know. So I'm not sure. It's a little iffy. And Atlanta's they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Atlanta, apparently, they've also now restructured Kirk Cousins' deal, by the way. The Falcons and Kirk Cousins. This comes from Field Yates, by the way, on ESPN. The Falcons and Kirk Cousins agreed to modify the final 2 years of the quarterback's contract, setting the stage for a decision for his Atlanta future to be made by the third day of the 2026 NFL League year, which happens on March 13th. That's my dad's birthday. All right. As part of the restructure, there is now a guarantee in the amount of $67.9 million for the 2027 season that vests on March 13th. Given the high unlikelihood that the Falcons or any team that would acquire Cousins via a trade before March 13th would want to be on the hook for that $67.9 million, a decision on Cousins' future would come before that date. The restructure also includes reducing his 2026 base salary from a non-guaranteed $35 million to just $2.1 million, a difference of $32.9 million. That amount equals the increase in his 2027 compensation that this amended deal includes, it splits it differently. The restructure does not impact any guaranteed money already owed to Cousins, while Cousins and the Falcons, who are undergoing a search for a new general manager and head coach, could agree to another amended deal to keep him with Atlanta, one logically possibly posited by a salary cap experts, and the team moving on from Cousins before March 13th via a post-June 1st release. Such a release would split the dead money on Cousins' contract over the 2026 and 2027 league years, as opposed to the team taking the full amount in 2026, while also creating cap flexibility for Atlanta on June 2nd. Additionally, by agreeing to reduce Cousins' base salary for the 2026 year, the Falcons create more cap flexibility right away as his cap charge drops immediately. Cousins, who's 37 years old, appeared in 10 games this season, starting the final 7 for Atlanta after Michael Penix Jr. suffered a knee injury. Cousins, who threw 10 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions during those 7 starts, said that the Falcons' Week 18 win over the Saints, that he would like to keep playing and kept the door open for a return to Atlanta. So that's going to be something, too, that comes into the discussion of Does Harbaugh want to go there? Does he want to deal with all that? There's a lot of restructuring happening there in Atlanta, so I'm very interested with that. Lloyd says he's still feeling the Browns for Harbaugh, which is fine. I think we're gonna have a lot of people there. ELS says Giants or Raiders. He says I don't see the Titans. I think the Titans are very intriguing simply because of Cam Ward, and we saw that this year, especially the last half of the year. He's special. There's something special with him in Tennessee. And I think that's going to attract a lot of good head coaching attention. People are going to want that job and want to build their career with that kid. The organization does need to rebuild a little bit. They have to rebuild the roster. You do have to deal with Amy Adams Strunk, who is one of the lower-end owners in the NFL as it stands right now. You'd have to say, with looking at how she has dealt with her team over the last 5 to 7 years, has not been ideal. So that's going to be, I think, something as well. If you're a coach going there, is like maybe talk to Mike Vrabel first and get like, hey, what's the water like down there in Tennessee, and see if that's something that you want to do. I don't know. Lloyd says Matt Eberflus will go to the Giants. Lloyd, I will punch you in the face. I swear to God. Don't you dare. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do it. And yes, we got a lot of other firings as well. We were talking about head coaches, but yes, Eberflus is out in Dallas. Change was needed, as was said, and of course the Lions also, they have fired John Morton after one season. So Morton gets fired after 1 year in Detroit as the OC, and Eberflus gone after 1 year for the Cowboys. 2 days after the season ended with the Cowboys finishing last in the league in points per game and 30th in yards per game, Eberflus was relieved of his duties. Having known Matt Eberflus for decades now, we have tremendous respect and appreciation for him as a coach and as a person. After reviewing and discussing the results of our defensive performance this season, though it was clear that change is needed, said Jed Jones. This is the first step in that process, and we will continue that review as it applies, reaching our much higher expectations. Which is, if I'm right, what are you going to do? What, about Eberflus joining the Giants? I'm going to fly out to Michigan, and I'm going to search house by house, and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to punch you in the face. No. You've seen me kind of lose my shit on here before. I'll lose my shit. I was going to say, and this question was brought up in the Rubber Room Discord as well on Sunday night when we were talking about it, about Eberflus being let go and where would he go, because it was clear he was going to be let go eventually. It just happened to happen today, but, I mean, writing was on the wall. And the question was, will he, not for a head coach, but any coaching, like, is anybody going to be able to hire him? Because just his time in Chicago and now what he's done in Dallas, and we could sit there and say, like, oh, the Micah trade really hamstrung him and things like that, but, you know, you can still find a way to do something, you know, and good coaches, like I look at what San Francisco did with all the injuries they had, and you can sit there and say, yeah, well, they had great backups, but that's, all right, well, then you're talking about just good GM work and everything like that, but Matt Eberflus has shown, like, I don't know if I've seen enough good things out of him to where he would do that. And I think other teams aren't going to take a chance on that. Again, teams are here like trying to hire people because it's like, especially GMs. GMs got to hire somebody. They're not like, you can't hire somebody who's not have a track record of success, because if they don't have success, you don't have success. And if you don't have success, you're going to be fired eventually. Even Joe Shane. Eventually, he'll have to get let go. Chris Ballard, maybe not. Chris Ballard seems to be completely safe from everything other than a thermonuclear war, apparently, for the Colts there. But I could say, yeah, I saw some people say UFL for Eberflus, and that might be where he ends up. But yeah, busy couple of days here. Last 48 hours. Usually called Black Monday. Well, we've had Black Monday. We've had Black Tuesday. We've got firings all the way on here. By the way, also with Washington, the Redskins have let go of Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. They have both mutually agreed to part ways after Kingsbury met with Dan Quinn. Meanwhile, the team fired its defensive coordinator, Joe Witt, after The latter move had long been expected, considering Quinn took over defensive play calling duties from Witt after Week 10. Washington's defense finished the season ranked last in yards with 27 and 27th in points. It represented a steep drop after finishing 18th in points and 13th in yards the previous season. So Washington, they're going to be on the they're going to be looking for a new OC and DC. And again, we talked about all the other jobs there. Arizona's looking, Cleveland's looking, Giants are looking, Titans are looking, Atlanta is looking. Who else is out there? Who else was looking? There were so many people fired. Baltimore now is looking, as we mentioned before. Surprisingly, Miami's not looking. Everybody thought McDaniels was gone after Week 4, Week 5. Turns out, guy's not gone yet. Zach Taylor not gone in Cincinnati, and Steichen not gone in Indianapolis. So again, a couple of surprises for people not fired, and then I think I don't want to say it's surprising because a lot of people were kind of questioning on whether or not it was going to happen, but just the fact that after 18 seasons, Harbaugh has been let go that's pretty interesting. That is a not surprising, but still shocking, I would say. Anyway, there we go. That's a kind of a intro. We had a pretty long intro here discussion about what the hell was going on with the NFL. Boy, we've got 37 minutes already of just talking about that. We didn't even get to the countdown yet. Oh, my God. What are we even doing? What are we even doing here, folks? Let me make sure I got everything set up here correctly. And I want to make sure I have everything here so that we have everything ready to go. And you know what? I think we do. So let's head on over to the vertical board. And let's get ready here. We're going to start, as always, for the last time this season, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Booty Cheeks 5. And here we are, here with the Booty Cheeks 5. Who is going to be the last 5 teams lodged directly, firmly in my Booty Cheeks until next September when the season starts anew? We're going to find out here in just a second. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Countdown on Stay Tuned Sports. As I mentioned before, my name is King. If you like any part of the show, please hit that like button, hit that share button, let the world know this channel exists. And, of course, as always, if you haven't done so already or you're just here for the first time, hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and being monetized here on this great and glorious platform known as YouTube. Now, number 28 in the Booty Cheeks 5, the last Booty Cheeks 5 of 2025. The New York Football Giants up 2 spots from their previous rank. Number 28, they're 4-13. They end the season on a 2-game winning streak. They ruined their draft position. Oh, my God, the Giants ruined it all. Oh, they ruined their draft position. I don't give a shit. I enjoyed the fact that we beat the Cowboys for the first time in forever. Fuck the Cowboys. Hey, we split with the Cowboys this year. We split with the Eagles this year. Had a couple, again, you don't ask for much, but the little bit that you get is pretty good. We beat the Chargers this year. The Giants, again, there's pieces there. If we can get a good, stable, solid coaching staff, and with Harbaugh out there, we might actually get an above-average coach. Who would have seen that coming? You never know. And I like Stefanski, too. I'm going to be honest with you, too. It's not Harbaugh or nothing, because I like Stefanski as well. If the Giants end up with Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, I'll be a happy guy. I'm perfectly fine with that, 100%. But there we go. That's where I have the Giants finishing the 2025 NFL season at number 28, 4-13, up 2 spots. At number 20, why is it? Oh, wait, hold on. Is this right? Or did I screw this up? I did screw it up, but there we go anyway. At 29, I have the Tennessee Titans. Why did I forget their name for a second there? I have no idea. The Tennessee Titans, they stay just a leg above before at number 29, 3-14. They end the season after getting thumped by the Jaguars. But to be fair, it was looking good for them. Cam Ward in the great opening drive, scores a touchdown, but then immediately hurts his shoulder From what I understand, it's just a sprain. There's no ligament damage. There's no surgery needed, so he will be okay. Going into the offseason, best news that they could have had, especially for their future franchise quarterback there in Tennessee. Still, obviously a disappointing year. Fired the head coach in the middle of the season. Never really were able to get a lot going, but Cam Ward, you saw the development each and every week. Even if the Titans didn't win games, you saw that, boy, Cam Ward has got something there. And if you're a Titans fan, that's what you got to hold on to. Now you got to hold on to, hey, listen, we have an exciting quarterback. We have a young foundation there that we can build around. And not only that, but it is a full rebuild. So, hey, listen, you want to come in here? You have a young quarterback that you can build around. You can put your fingerprint on this team. You can help with the general manager and build this team to the way you want and make this your team. It's an exciting job. I think it's an enticing job. And I think you were looking at right there, 1 and 2. I think you're looking at the 2 top jobs in the NFL right now, if you're asking me. Even with Baltimore on the market now, I think the Giants and the Titans are still 2 of the most enticing head coaching vacancies out there if you are a head coach. So Giants at 28, Titans at 29. At 30, we've got my beloved Desert Birds, the Arizona Cardinals. They're down 2 spots to 30. I was always like, man, I think the offense runs better with Jacoby Brissett. They look better. They look good. That was earlier on in the season. I think they might have been 3 or 4, 3 and 5 at the time. And I was like, hey, maybe this is a spot they turn it around. Maybe this is where the Cardinals are like, hey, they did not. They did not turn it around. Jonathan Gannon gone as head coach. Kyler Murray most likely gone there. So the Cardinals are in full organizational rebuild right now. Coaching staff, roster-wise, probably front office, just top to bottom, Cardinals are starting fresh. So I don't know who they're going to get as a head coach. I don't know who they're getting anything else. But right now, it's a mess down there in Arizona, and that's a shame. Because I love them. I do love my Desert Birds. But right now, the Cardinals sitting at number 30. Down 2 spots, 3 and 14. At 31, the Oakland Raiders of Las Vegas. Boy, this team. I said this before in the post Sunday night in the Rubber Room Discord. Which, by the way, you can join our Discord and then join the Rubber Room Discord through that if you want to. Link down in the description below. The Raiders are the one team this year that I watched, and I watched a lot of Giants games. I watch the Giants game every week. The Raiders are the one team that gave me a physically violent internal reaction to watching football. They were so bad, especially when Chip Kelly was there. It made me angry watching them. Watching Raiders football made me angry. That's how bad they were. They are an awful team. And now, again, Pete Carroll's gone. So that's an open job there in Las Vegas. You got Tom Brady doing a search there. There's a lot to like there. It is Vegas, so that's always going to be enticing. You got Tom Brady as the face of ownership, even though Mark Davis is still there, obviously. But you have a whole franchise you got to rebuild there. What are you going to do with Max Crosby? Are they going to trade him to get draft capital or some kind of also physical assets in return? Maybe a little bit both. That's probably something that's on the table. We'll find out as we get closer to draft day if that's something the Raiders will do or not. So, interesting job out there. But as for this season, boy, that's all I can say about the Raiders. Oh, God, it made me angry watching that goddamn team. I'm so glad I don't have to do that again. At least for a little while. But surprisingly, for as much as I hate watching the Raiders, and for the visceral reaction that I had in watching the Raiders, there's still a team worse than the Raiders. How could that possibly be? How could there be a team worse than the Raiders? You know who it is. It could be but nobody else. Jets. Jets finish once again at the bottom of many rankings. The Jets have finished on the bottom of, and I want to say probably the last 55 years or so, and this is no different. The Jets are they didn't have one interception all year. Aaron Glenn is their coach, former defensive back for the Jets, somebody who was a very good defensive coordinator with the Lions, according to some. Some people disagreed with that. That being said, wow, that's a record that not only was that a record that's never going to be broken. It literally can't. The best you could do is tie that record. You're not going to beat that record. And not only that, it's a more impressive record than it would have been 4 or 5 years ago. Because now we've got 17 games. If it was 16 games, you'd be like, oh, 16 games is still bad. But now you have a 17 game. It's like, oh, you're going to have one extra game. They'll get one. Nope. They made, and what was it, the last 5 or 6 games, they lost each one by over 23 points. I legitimately do feel bad for Jet fans. And I'm partially a Jet fan. Like I said, I root for the Jets. When they're not playing the Giants, I root for the Jets. I like the Jets. Being from the area, they're the AFC team that I will always sit down and root for because I like the Jets and I want to see the Jets do well. But holy shit. And how many more years in the New York era are we going to have this where the Giants and Jets both finish within the 5 worst teams in the NFL? Happened last year. It's going to happen. It's happened in many years before that. Hopefully, we don't have any more of these, but we're going to see. ELS in the chat says the Jets are so bad that a UFL team could beat them. I would say, like that Baltimore Stallions team from the XFL that kept on winning over and over, or the USFL that kept on winning championships. I bet you the Baltimore Stallions could beat them. Could have beat them. Like, if they had that team with Beck coaching them, neutral site, I'd give him a fair chance. The Toronto Argonauts too. Defending, I think that are the Argonauts the defending champions. Grey Cup? I don't know. I forget who it is. I'd give the CFL champion a chance against the Jets. Absolutely. The Jets are not a good team, and none of these teams are. That's why they're the Booty Cheeks 5. And so for the last time for the 2025 season, ladies and gentlemen, your Booty Cheeks 5, the New York Giants at 28, the Titans at 29, the Cardinals at 30, the Raiders at 31, and your worst team at the end of the 2025 season, the New York Jetropolitans at 3 and 14. Woo! ELS and Lloyd talking some shit in the chat there. Lloyd, of course, our resident Lions fan. ELS, our resident Packers fan. Lloyd trying to say that the Packers are losing this Sunday. To be fair, Lloyd, at least the Packers are playing. I mean, you got to give them that. The tie certainly did help them out there. But we'll see. Again, it'll be something. But you got to be in the playoffs to win it, right? ELS, you got to be in it to win it, like the lottery, like the New York Lottery says. You got to be in it to win it. So anything can happen. As a betting man, probably not going to bet that, but anything can happen. Okay, so we've had the Booty Cheeks, we've had the worst. Now it's time, obviously, to check out who we have finishing the regular season as the top teams in the NFL. Our NFL top 12 power rankings after Week 18. It's the last one of the year, folks. Maybe I'll do one for the playoffs. See if each round somebody gets knocked out, and we'll just keep on we'll lock teams in as they get eliminated or something like that, and then we'll just keep on going up and up and up and up and up. So we'll see. But here we go. Why not start? Just enough dilly-dallying, as it were. At number 12. Who do we have at number 12? The Pittsburgh Steelers, after a miraculous, unbelievable, and improbable win. After Boswell misses an extra point at the end of the game to only have a 2-point lead, to then watch Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely connect down the field to be well within field goal range for Tyler Loop. And that's it. It's a kick. And then probably Aaron Rodgers' career is over. Mike Tomlin's future is in doubt and debated. We don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to go on. Instead, Tyler Loop, he pulls a Scott Norwood, goes wide right. And now we're talking about the Steelers in the playoffs. Steelers 10-7, champions of the AFC North, and John Harbaugh out as Baltimore Ravens head coach. Woo, boy, what a difference a foot can make. That's why it's called football, ladies and gentlemen. The foot had all the decisions on there. The Steelers, they end the season. Somehow, after being most of the season not on this list at all, the Steelers end the season as number 12 on the countdown top 12. Number 11, the Philadelphia Eagles. I got them down 3 spots. And, their backups were it. Yeah, but you know what? You kind of hope that your backups would do well, especially against a team that's starting their emergency third quarterback, have been injured to shit, and aren't very good to begin with. You still figured that your backups and everybody would be able to do the job. And they didn't. And that's got to be a concern to some Eagles fans, I think. And some Eagles fans were very upset, saying that, man, they wish they had gone for the number 2 spot, knowing that Chicago had lost, so that, they could get the Green Bay Packers instead of what I think most people would consider to be the more difficult game, which is the San Francisco 49ers coming in. But be that as it may, again, the Eagles never played a full 60 minutes this entire season. And, yeah, they're 11-6. They have an above 500 record, and they won the NFC East, which, this year was not that much of a challenge. Not that much of a challenge this year. But that being said, for the defending Super Bowl champions, it has not been an impressive defense campaign for them. I don't know. Like I said, I'm very iffy still on the Eagles. That being said, I do think that they are the 11th best team in the NFL as it stands right now, down 3 spots, and they finished the season at number 11, the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 10, the Chicago Bears, which, to be fair, to start this season, I didn't think the Bears would ever be on this list. Here they are, and they've been up and down. I think they were as high as 4 at one time on this list. They finished the year down 3 spots at 10. Again, matching record of 11-6 with the Philadelphia Eagles, although they get the number 2 seed in the NFC with the tiebreaker. And again, when it comes to the Bears, it's they played all their starters this time. And they did what they always do. They got down early. They didn't play well. Then tried to have a late comeback against the Lions, and it fell short. And you can only dance with that devil every now and then before it comes and bites you in the ass. And the devil bit him in the ass. And that devil, being Dan Campbell, bit their kneecaps and then bit him in the ass. And the Lions, again, they love doing that. They love winning that last game of the year to try to screw over their fellow division mates. They did it a couple years ago to the Packers to knock them out of the playoffs. Now they did it this year in an attempt to knock the Bears out of the number 2 seed, but the Eagles didn't hold up their end of the bargain. But still, losing to the Lions. Lions get one last win on the year. Good for them. But in the Bears, they lose. So they win the division, but they win it at 11-6, down 3 spots to number 10. At number 9, you got the Los Angeles Chargers. At, again, 11-6. With Trey Lance starting and having some of their backups starting, I thought they played well enough. Maybe not on the offensive side, but defensively they did. And again, super not impressed with Denver. Again, Denver still had a lot to play for, playing for the number 1 overall seed, the bye, the home field advantage. All of that was on the line because New England was going to win against Miami. And then we also, Jacksonville too. Jacksonville had won all that too. So I mean, that was all. It was still in flux. It was still in flux there for the Broncos. And I think they 16-3 was the final score of that game against Trey Lance and the Chargers backups as they were resting for their now cross country flight. As we know, they're going to be playing the New England Patriots. So again, not impressed so much with the Broncos. Impressed with the Chargers, especially their second-string defense and how their defense was able to play against the Denver Broncos and hold that offense. Is that a case of the Broncos, again, being a team that wins ugly and is not necessarily maybe that good? but is, kind of pulling out games late, which, again, it's the NFL, so it is what it is. I don't know. If Justin Herbert starts in that game, if the Chargers go full bore, do they win that game? I think it's a lot closer than 16-3. But the fact that the Broncos didn't blow out the Chargers, I think, is a little telling from that standpoint. So the Chargers, they don't move in my standings. They sit at number 9, and that's where they will stay at 11-6. Number 8. I said number 8. There we go. Hey, look at that. It's the Denver Broncos at 14-3. They're up 2 spots from the previous week. And they finished the season 14-3. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC. But boy, are they just not an impressive. They're one of those number 1 seeds you look at and are like, really? Are they going to luck their ass to the Super Bowl? And that might be. They might luck their ass to the Super Bowl. I don't know. But that being said, they won 14 games in an NFL season. That is not an easy feat. Despite the overthrows, despite the defense being good and then sometimes not being good, despite Riley Moss and his constant pass interference calls, the Broncos are 14-3. Their problem is a lot the same that I have with the Eagles, is they have not really played a full 60-minute game, in my mind, in my vision, my eyeballs have seen. And again, I'm not an analytics guy. I'm not going to sit here and look up all the stats and say, well, if you look at this, their EBT or whatever the fucking stat is, or call it, I'm trying to curse less. Sorry, everybody. Whatever that is, and if they're ranked with this, that, I don't do that. I don't do the, I look at it based on how it looks to me. Does that make me, you're fucking casual? That's fine. I don't give a shit. Call me casual. Call me anything you want. I really don't give a shit. This is just my opinion. This is just my list. If you don't like it, go make your own. Suck my ass. I don't care. That's where I have the Broncos because, again, they're just not that impressive. I've been saying since about halfway through the year, I think the Broncos are going to be that team that has a high seed, and then they're going to play their first playoff game and get the doors blown off them. And I still feel like that could be the possibility here with the Broncos. It feels like whoever they play in the divisional round next weekend might get the win, and it might be a one and done for the Broncos, kind of like how Detroit was last year. It just kind of feels that way. And Detroit was 15-2, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, I don't think, anyway. But there you go. That's where I have the Broncos. They finished the season 14-3, but only number 8 in my rankings. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. When you're back, again, it was against the Jets, but it was their backups. It was Trubisky. It was all that. Trubisky not intercepted once. He had over 200. He had like 230 yards or something passing. Something ridiculous. Trubisky looked like Tom Brady. And only the New York Jets could do that. I'll tell you that. But that's a way to close out Highmark Stadium, Rich Stadium, New Era Field, Ralph Wilson Stadium, whatever, how many different names that goddamn place had. That was a hell of a way to close it out there for the Bills, wearing the old school red helmets there. So good for them. They finished the season 12-5. They will be traveling to, where are the Bills going? Oh, they're going to Jacksonville. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be one of the good ones on Wild Card Weekend, Super Wild Card Weekend. But again, I think can the Bills catch a hot streak? They can. Do I think they're a favorite in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl? I wouldn't say that much, but man, I think they can catch a hot streak. I think they can catch a hot streak, and if that happens, well, with Josh Allen, anything is possible. So that's why I have the Bills there at number 7. Number 6, we've got the Los Angeles Rams at 12-5. Same record there as the Bills. I have the Rams down a spot, even though they won. I know that it was against the Cardinals, so that's probably why I moved them down. It's not overall their play over the last couple of weeks has not been great. Yes, they were able to beat the Cardinals, but again, they struggled a bit with the Cardinals, more so than you probably should have for a team that is as bad as the Cardinals. The Cardinals are in the Booty Cheeks 5. And I think it's been a concern with their defense going into the playoffs now. It's like, boy, this team, just a couple weeks ago, we had as our number 1 overall team in the countdown, and a lot of people did and thought, boy, this is the Rams team that can do this. The Rams kind of they feel like the NFC's Bills to me. Can they get hot? Can they make a run? Absolutely. And if in my mind, I really think they're one of the 3 teams that have a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl coming out of the NFC. But they're going to have to figure out what's up. They're going to have to figure out what's wrong with them, and they're going to have to get everything straight away and squared away as they make a trip all the way across to Carolina, where they lost on Thanksgiving weekend. So a little chance for revenge, or it could be a rewind of a nightmare. We're going to find out on a wild card. I think it's wild card Saturday they're playing, so that's going to be an interesting game to watch. Number 5, we're getting to the top 5 now, the final top 5 of the 2025 season, and I have the Houston Texans at 12-5, up a spot. Texans, they were able to pull out the win against the Colts, a scrappy Colts team. Riley Leonard looked really good for them. Even though it was a loss, and yet another loss there for the Colts, but a great turnaround or great last effort from the Colts and Riley Leonard and that team there. And maybe that's what changed Carla Ursay's mind about keeping Steichen and keeping some of the people around there. I don't know about Ballard, man. Ballard is – I definitely would think about looking at moving Ballard at this point, but, kind of like how the Dolphins with Chris Greer – I think you got to look at somebody else there as GM for Indianapolis. But again, now with Harbaugh on the market, Harbaugh on the market. Oh, I don't know why I turned from Boston all of a sudden. We heard from Adam Schefter and John Harbaugh's agent that 7 teams have reached out to John Harbaugh. Now, there's only 7 vacancies in the NFL, one of them being Baltimore. So we know that Baltimore didn't reach out to him. So that means 6 open vacancies messaged John Harbaugh's agent about getting an interview or talking to him about coaching their team. One team that currently has a head coach has reached out and contacted John Harbaugh. Could that be the Indianapolis Colts? Could that be the Cincinnati Bengals? We don't know. What I do know is that I think the Texans are 9 straight victories. They are the hottest team running into the NFL right now and going into the playoffs. You do not want to play the Houston Texans. I feel like they are definitely one of the favorites in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. You heard it. You heard it, baby. I think the Texans are a legitimate Super Bowl threat, and that's why they're in the top 5 of the top 12 countdown here. The Texans, 12-5, up a spot at number 5. At number 4, down 3 spots, the San Francisco 49ers. Disappointing game. They did make a bit of a late charge there at the end of the game against the Seahawks in what was ostensibly the not only just the NFC West Championship game, but the NFC regular season championship game. And Seattle took care of business. Sam Darnold kind of got that monkey off his back from last year with the Vikings, where he could have had the number 1 seed. He could have won the division, lost the last game of the year, then had to go out to Los Angeles and play the Rams and lost that game. This game seemed to be a little bit of the exercise in the demons for old Sam Darnold and for the Seahawks and for the 49ers. You got to wonder what happened to the offense. Where did it go? Brock Purdy got rocked in that game. Now, again, Seattle's defense is very good, a lot better than the Bears from the week before, so I don't, it wasn't going to be the same shootout that it was, but you would hope and you see something else. Purdy looked like he got injured at the end. Looked like he had a bloody thumb or something. They were more worried about apparently his shoulder where he landed on it on that last hit of the game. But they said he seems to be okay. So he will be playing as they make the trip out to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field, do the 49ers. I still like the Niners. I still think they are one of the favorites to make it out of the NFC. I like them and the Rams. Those are 2 of the 3 of my favorites out of the NFC, I think, to get to the Super Bowl. I think they're a legitimate threat. But we'll see. They got to get past Philadelphia and have a better performance than they did against the Seahawks on Saturday night. I was going to say Sunday night. Saturday night. So we'll see there. But at number 4, ending the season at number 4, down 3 spots, the Niners, 12-5, which is actually impressive for all the injuries they had. At number 3, they stay a leg above forward. The New England Patriots sitting at 14-3, champions of the AFC East once again, sitting at the number 2 seed in the AFC. Man, Mike Vrabel's done a lot there. Now you can talk about the Patriots' schedule. Did they have a good enough schedule? Did they play anybody? Was it worth it? Was it worthy? Was it anything like that? I don't know. I'm not here. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what we're talking about here. All I know is that you win games in the NFL, and they've done so. And they've done so convincingly in a lot of the games. Now, they've had a couple of close ones, but they've also won some games very convincingly. And that's what I mean. I've seen the Patriots play a full 60-minute football game. I haven't seen that from the Eagles. I haven't seen that from the Broncos. That's why I have them a little bit lower. The Patriots, I've seen them play a full and complete game where they looked good from start to finish. Even if it was a tough battle, even if it was a back and forth, I've seen them play a full game, full effort. And you have Drake May, who right now, between him and Stafford, it's a coin flip of who's going to be the MVP this year. And if your quarterback has the MVP on it, you got a pretty good shot. So I like the Patriots. I think, again, for anybody who remembers the last 25 years, it's like, oh, boy, Patriots favorite to go to the Super Bowl again? Holy shit. But here we are again, the Patriots at 14-3. Number 3 in the booty cheeks. Not booty cheeks, in the top 12. They are not in the booty cheeks, are the Patriots. They are anti-booty cheeks. At number 2. It's as much a surprise to me as it is to you. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 13-4, up 2 spots. I have them as the number 2 team in the NFL. The thing with the Jaguars was always, consistency. They have to be consistent. They have to start looking consistent. And God help me, for the last 4 or 5 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has started to look like the consistent guy. He has started to look like, okay, this is what they wanted when they drafted Trevor Lawrence. The defense looks good. The offense looks good. Liam Cohen has worked some magic down there in Duval. He's doing work there. And I'm going to tell you what, I did not, if you would have asked me before this year if I had any intentions of ever thinking of seeing the Jaguars up in the top 12 this year, I would have said no, and Jimbo would have said hell no, because Jimbo was keeping the Jaguars down in the Booty Cheeks 5 early on in the year for so long when Jimbo was still with us doing a show. He was very much like, the Jaguars suck. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere. The fact that we both kind of had the Jaguars that low to start the year, and now here are the Jaguars sitting at 13-4 and finishing the season number 2 in my rankings, is as much a surprise to me as to anybody. But I really do think that these AFC South teams, the Jaguars and the Texans, are 2 of the real contenders out of the AFC to get to a Super Bowl. And how neat would that be to see the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans make it to their first Super Bowl in the 60th anniversary of the Super Bowl? One team could be getting their first taste of Super Bowl glory. That would be really cool. And finally, the team that's going to end the year at number 1, a team that, again, I didn't think was going to be ending the year at number 1. I didn't know if this team would be in the top 12, to be honest with you. But sure enough, I think they are the best team in the NFL, and I don't think you can really argue that. It's the Seattle Seahawks, baby, 14-3. Number 1, they move up a spot after beating the 49ers on Saturday night for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC and the NFC West title. And defensively, just amazing. Sam Darnold, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. And again, that's really the only worry still, I think, that you have with your Seattle is Sam Darnold turning the ball over. But here's the thing when it comes to Seattle. Even when Darnold has turned the ball over and turned it over a lot, they've still won a lot of those games. It puts them in a lot harder position. It means they have to really work their ass off to get the wins, but they still end up winning. And then if he doesn't turn the ball over, Seattle's going to put in the work. So that's why I really do like Seattle here. I like them at number 1. I mean, clearly, I think they are the favorite out of the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. I think you have a couple other teams there, like we talked about, that could get there. I think any of the NFC West teams are your favorites to get to the Super Bowl. Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams. I think those 3 teams right there are your NFC favorites to get to the Super Bowl. I think anybody else at this point is kind of a dark horse. I don't see the Eagles doing it. I'm no offense, ELS, but I don't see the Packers doing it. The Bears would be a fun story, but boy, they're going to have to hit a real big hot streak there, and they have to stop letting teams get a lead first and then trying to work back up to catch them. Like that's, as we saw against Detroit on Sunday, that's not always going to work for you. And you're going to end up on the short end of the stick, especially in the playoffs here. I think that's a big worry for them. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the final top 12 countdown for the power rankings in the NFL this season, for the 2025 season. The Seahawks are your number 1 team to end the season. Number 2 is the Jaguars of all teams. Go figure. The Patriots at number 3. The Niners at 4. The Texans at 5. The Rams at 6. The Bills are 7th. The Broncos I have at 8. The Chargers at 9. The Bears 10. The Eagles at 11. And the Steelers sliding in at the last moment to get the number 12 spot. And that is how we are going to finish the season. ELS, he has his top 12 as the Broncos at number 12. He's got the Broncos all the way down at 12. Thought I was bad. The Eagles at 11. The Bears are 10 for ELS. He's got the Chargers at 9. He's got the Steelers at 8. The Niners at 7. The Bills he has at 6. He's got the Texans at 5. The Rams up at 4. The Patriots at 3. The Jaguars at 2. And the Seahawks at number 1. So me and ELS there have the same top 3. Very interesting. Very interesting. Always like that. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final countdown. It's the final countdown of the 2025 season. Like I said, I might do this just for the playoffs, just to keep on doing who I think is going to be the top teams in the playoffs, and just locking teams in as they lose wild card games there or whatever as we get up, and then we'll just have the final. We'll have the final ranking, kind of like a college poll there, I guess. And probably the Super Bowl champion would be number 1, I would imagine, but you never know. Things can get screwy. But again, thank you so much for joining us here on Stay Tuned Sports for the countdown. And to any of the coaches that got fired, Godspeed. Hopefully find another job soon. Best of luck on all your future endeavors. And it seems like for the Giants, they're going to have their pick of the litter. So we'll see. Will they get Harbaugh? Will they get Stefanski? Will it be somebody else? Will it be Clint Kubiak out of Seattle? That would be nice. That would be nice. There's defensive guys out there. Some people have been calling for Saleh. I don't know about that. We've already seen Saleh in New York once. I don't know if I want to see it again. But that's just me personally. Maybe it'll work this time. Maybe this time it'll work. I don't know. But thank you so much for joining us here on the countdown. If you liked any part of this particular program, please hit that like button, hit that share button, let people know that this channel does exist. That certainly helps out tremendously. The more eyeballs here, the better. And of course, as always, if you haven't done so yet, or this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and hopefully being monetized on this great and glorious platform known as YouTube. If you'd like to help us out a little bit more directly, we have our donation station and our merch store links down in the description below. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure for this 2025 season. And until the Friday forecast, where we will go ahead, preview, and predict all of Wildcard, Super Wildcard Weekend for you. My name is King. This has been the Countdown on Stay Tuned Sports. Have a great rest of your Tuesday and a great rest of your week.